Hey guys, and welcome back to another video. So today's video, I'm going to be talking about my favorite dystopian series. However, before we get started, I would like to let you all know that today's video is sponsored, and I am super thankful. The sponsor of today's video is Eric Capitan, who wrote A Love Not Deceased. This book will be available in Kindle and paperback format on February 3rd, 2020, but you can currently pre-order the Kindle format, and I will leave a link in the description where you can get that. This is available on Amazon only, and I will be reviewing this book very soon for you guys, so stay tuned for that. He also has a really cool trailer for his book, which I am going to play here.
Dearest Mike, before I met you, I didn't know I could be happy, that I could love someone as much as I love you. As you know, me and love don't usually get along. Love has been taken away from me so many times, taken from me by one thing and one thing only: death. My mom, my dad, and now you. Taken away from me by the cold hand of death. But you see, Mike, I'm not going to let that happen this time. I'm going to take you back, and you and I will be happy forever. A Love Not Deceased by horror author Eric Capitan, available on Amazon. She waited a lifetime. Love found her. Then it took it away. Or did it?
Again, I just want to say a huge thank you to Eric Capitan for sponsoring today's video. I truly appreciate it. I love supporting new horror authors. Horror is my favorite genre, and I love finding new authors, so thank you so much for sponsoring this video. I am really excited to read the book and review it for everyone. I think it's going to be really good. Today we're talking about some of my favorite dystopian series, and I just want to let you guys know what a dystopian series is, or what a dystopian means, because I know some people are kind of unclear about it. So I actually Googled it, and I have a definition for you guys. It says, dystopian is relating to or denoting an imagined state or society where there is great suffering or injustice. So basically, it's just not an ideal society. I have 6 series to talk about, and they're in no particular order, but they're kind of in an order. I know that doesn't really make sense, but I didn't really make it from best to worst or worst to best or anything, but my favorites are more towards the bottom of the stack. And the ones we're talking about now are like still good, but they're just not as good as my other favorites. Anyways, we'll talk about them in a second. So the first one I have to mention is The Hunger Games. Of course, I feel like this is what everyone knows when they think about dystopian series. The Hunger Games, Catching Fire, Mockingjay. I think this is just a really good example of a dystopian society. If you want to really know what it's about, Hunger Games is pretty good at describing it and showing what a dystopian society is. But I do have slight issues with this book. I love the series. I love it. I love the movies as well. I think it's a great series. There are just certain things that do irritate me about this series, and I'm not going to talk about that because I don't want to give things away from people who haven't read them. But if I had to put them into an order of my favorite to least favorite, Catching Fire is my number 1 favorite, then Hunger Games, and then Mockingjay last. Mockingjay was a slight disappointment to me. I did like it. It just didn't exactly do what I wanted for the series. But overall, I do really like The Hunger Games. I think it's a great story. I love the characters. I think overall it's really good. There are just some things that I would slightly tweak if I had the opportunity to rewrite it. The next series is the Maze Runner series. And I know these are technically trilogies, but I'm including them in the title of series. So I'm sorry if that bothers you, but it's a series of 3 is what a trilogy is, so I mean, come on. But I actually really liked the Maze Runner series. I had no idea what I was getting into when I read it. I picked it up on a whim, and I'm so glad I did. I think it's a really interesting story, I don't know, I just didn't expect it. I really enjoy the movies as well, but I think the books are a little bit better. I don't know, I just really liked the plot. I thought the idea behind The Maze Runner was very interesting. I had never read anything quite like this. Maybe I just haven't read a lot of dystopian books, but I just thought this was a pretty unique series, and I really liked a lot of the characters. These were some of the best characters that I've ever read in a dystopian series. I really liked them. The next series that I really liked is Matched. This is also, I have a stain right here. Like, how unfortunate is that? Like, ugh. Anyways, this series is a more romantic dystopian. I know Hunger Games and The Maze Runner do have romance in them, but this is more centered on romance. This is about being matched with your future partner in life. Like, this is about how, that's how you choose who you're going to be with forever, is they get matched to you based off of like your personality, everything like that. And this just, I don't know, it's very interesting because I've always wondered what would happen if you just got matched to people in life and you didn't get a choice. And a lot of dystopian series obviously focus on the word choice because you don't have a lot of choice in these societies. Choice is taken away from you, and in this series in particular, her choice is taken away because she doesn't get a choice in who she ends up with. The next series is Delirium. This series, Delirium, Pandemonium, and Requiem, I have a lot of feelings about this series. I really liked it. I read this one way before these ever came out, so I thought this was a singular book. And if you've read this, the way this book ends, I was so mad. I was so angry, because it just ends really crappily. And I didn't think there was going to be a positive ending, but then you read the next two and everything changes. But this is another romantic dystopian series. In this series, they believe love is a sickness, so at a certain age, they get a procedure to cure them from that disease, and then they are married off like in an arranged marriage, and that's who they end up with the rest of their lives. But it has nothing to do with love. It just has to do with the act of being married. It doesn't matter who they're married to, like if they like them or not, they just have to get married to this person. It's like just because marriage is what you're supposed to do, but the love part is bad. And I really like this one. I like it more now that I know that there were two others. However, as a singular book, Delirium is really not, it's really good at first, but the more you read, the more irritating it gets, especially at the end. I was very frustrated. I cried. If that tells you anything, I'm a big crier though, so that probably means nothing. But I do think that these two books are helpful in finishing this story. However, I did not like Pandemonium as much. It was very boring to me and did nothing for the story, even though I know that it was supposed to be there for a reason, but I just didn't care for it. However, I really liked Requiem, and I liked the way the series ended. Second to last is The Program, and I think a lot of people know about this. It's a very interesting take on a dystopian society. This is about suicide becoming an epidemic, and because of that, to help people that have depression and those kinds of thoughts, they send them to this program and they wipe their memories, because the memories are the reason they are depressed. But they wipe everything away, not just the sad memories, but they also wipe away those very intense happy feelings or feelings of love or those very intense emotions. They wipe them all away because those could lead to depression and suicide and stuff like that. It's very interesting. I know I don't have them all. I'm pretty sure another two or 1 or 2 books have come out after the ones I have. I think they're about 6. I'm not quite sure. I haven't finished the series, but I do really, really, really like this. I know some people do not, but I think it's a very interesting twist to a dystopian society, because most of the time it's very like political. Most of these are political based dystopians, especially like Hunger Games and stuff like this. And this is more mentally dystopian, I guess. It's more focused on the mental side with the idea of depression and suicide, and I just find that very fascinating. The next and final series on my list is the Uglies series, and this is actually the first dystopian series I've ever read, and I don't know, there's something about it that I really, really, really enjoyed, and I think this is the reason why I liked dystopian so much. First of all, this is about when you turn 16, you get an operation to become pretty because you're not pretty in society standards before. It's very strange. And then the others follow suit. There's Uglies, Pretties. Oops, nope, that's the wrong one. Specials and Extras. And I really liked them all. I read Uglies when I was in 7th grade, and I loved this book. It's got a little bit of romance. Actually, it's got a lot of bit of romance in it. It's got some action. It's got a little bit of everything, which I really, really, really like, because I am partial to the romance dystopians, but I just really, really liked this book. And I didn't know it was a series, so then I ended up picking up Pretties, but for some reason I couldn't get through Pretties right after I read Uglies. I reread this book like 6 times because I would get like this far in and then just stop. And then I'd have to re-pick it up months later and start all over again. But then I'd have to reread Uglies because I'd want to read Uglies first and then read Pretties. It was a whole thing, but I finally got through Pretties and really enjoyed it. I don't know why it took me so long to read it. I don't know if it was just like the reading state I was in, I just didn't feel it or whatever. And then I read Specials, and I enjoyed Specials to an extent. I thought it was kind of weird. I didn't know why they went in this direction, but I did enjoy the book. And then Extras. I did not like this book. And I think it has to do with the fact that Tally, the main character of the first 3, is not the main character in this one. It's a different girl. Her name is Aya. I didn't really care for her, honestly, as a character. She was alright, but I liked Tally because Tally was who I had grown accustomed to with those 3 books. So reading this one, I was kind of like, bring me Tally. And Tally does make an appearance in this book. She's just not the main character, so I didn't really care for it as much. I really did like that series though. I like all of these series. I think they're really, really good. They're very interesting. I like the plots. I like the differences between them. I think they're all different enough, but still give you that dystopian feel that you're looking for. Now, these are not all the dystopian series out there, obviously. These are just the ones that I have, 1, read, 2, really enjoyed, and 3, would recommend to other people. There are tons out there, like Divergent. I've never read Divergent. I've watched the movies, but I never read them. I always meant to, but I never ended up picking them up. I also own Legend, Champion, and Prodigy, that trilogy, but I have never read them. I've had them on my shelf for like 2 years, but I've never picked them up, and I don't really know why. I think I fell out of a dystopian mood, and then I went to horror, and I was just kind of like, whatever. But yeah, I know there are tons more dystopian series out there. If you have any recommendations, please let me know. I'm always down for a good dystopian series or just a dystopian book, but I prefer a series just because I find them to be a little bit more engaging for me. One book doesn't do it. But yeah, so that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed. I know I didn't give too much detail about the books, but I know a lot of people know about Hunger Games and The Maze Runner, and I just didn't want to go into too much depth because I know people already know about them and I'm sure have heard about them 1,000 times. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a like. Think about subscribing to my channel. Don't forget to check out the description box for the link to pre-order the Kindle format for A Love Not Deceased. And thank you again to Eric Capitan for sponsoring this video. I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!